So I've never heard about men getting pregnant. I've never heard about this argument. It must be some part of what you call the far left that is so minuscule that I, who am...
No, Jane.
What?
It's not minuscule, and I'm sorry, you can't throw this back on us. I assume it's because you are locked into media that just never wants anyone in their audience to know anything sketchy about the blue team.
On the latest episode of Club Random, Bill Maher really went in on Jane Fonda's talking points, and it turned into some seriously entertaining moments. Fonda walked in expecting the usual kind of podcast where people agree with everything she says. But instead, she found herself sitting across from Maher, calm, direct, and ready to question her views step by step. Let's get into it.
Was it about a garage door?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that is...
No, you know this about California. Come on.
No, I don't.
Well,
I'm sorry, I don't.
You've never heard that California is overtaxed and overregulated? That we are a one-party state where there's sort of no checks on that sort of extreme leftism. And that, what do you think?
I don't for a minute consider California a state that is extreme leftist. Not at all, not any way.
Well, that shows where your politics are.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack here. Jane Fonda seems so wrapped up in the Hollywood bubble that she's almost lost touch with what everyday life really looks like. She's been surrounded by flashing cameras, loud applause, and like-minded voices for so long that it can start to feel like that's the whole world. In that space, catchy slogans can take the place of real discussion, and big statements can sound like solid answers. But Maher isn't really buying into that. He's stepping in to challenge those ideas and bring the conversation back to how things play out in real life, where people deal with real situations and real consequences. Grab your popcorn. This one should be interesting.
They became the birthers, they became the Tea Party. There's about a third of this country that's very hard right. Of course they love Trump. When he left office, he had an approval rating of 34%. So he really only had those people. Why is he now like tied? Because the other part of the coalition are people who, they don't really like him that much. They just think the far left has gone so nutty on so many issues.
That's what they're being told.
That's what they...
By people like you.
Because it's true. You think the far left does nothing crazy?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
You can almost feel the tension building in the room as these two get ready to go head-to-head. It's that quiet, charged moment right before the real back and forth begins. But here's the ironic part. Jane Fonda pushes back on Maher for saying the far left is going too far, and then moments later, she kind of admits things have gotten a bit extreme. It's one of those moments that makes you pause. Maher clearly catches it, the audience picks up on it too, and Fonda starts to realize how it comes across. All right, let's keep it moving.
Who is the far left? What do you mean when you say far left?
I mean, I could give you a million examples.
Yeah, well, give me one.
Okay, the NAACP.
You think the NAACP is far
Could I
left?
finish my sentence?
Yes.
You asked me for an example.
Yeah.
Travel advisory, you know, that's like the State Department does to go to, I'm sure when you went to Vietnam, they were advising you not to. There's a war on it.
I didn't talk to them. I don't have no right.
I know, but you know a travel advisory.
Yeah.
Today we have them for very dangerous countries. You
Yeah.
know, don't go to North Korea, don't go to Iran.
Yeah.
You know where they issued a travel advisory for black people not to go?
Yeah.
Florida. Every day there's stories like that, that just makes people roll their eyes and go, are you people nuts? Even if they don't matter that much, I don't think one person listened to this and thought, I can't go to Florida. But they just suggest something to the average person, which I completely understand, which is, wow, do you people ever find anything that's ridiculous?
Woke isn't just a way of thinking, it's become a full-blown ideology that creeps into every corner of life, culture, politics, entertainment, and even the way people think they're allowed to talk. It's an ideology that seems to wage war on common sense, twists science into activism, and reshapes history to make everyone feel good. Facts start to feel optional, logic gets labeled offensive, and feelings become the ultimate measure of truth. That's the real issue. It's no longer about fairness, it's about controlling people through moral pressure. Maher touched on this, sure, but didn't push it as far as he could have. Maybe he's careful not to upset his liberal fans. Still, someone needs to spell it out. Woke culture isn't progress, it's slowly eroding reason.
You really think men can get pregnant? You know, that kind of stuff. And I understand that a trans woman can get pregnant. That's different than a man getting pregnant. Insist on blurring that line as if that's some sort of reasonable social cause, as opposed to just being for having full rights, respect, and protection for trans people.
Nope, trans women can't get pregnant. That's just biology. But Maher is spot on when he says the trans movement should focus on securing rights and freedoms, not rewriting science. There's a big difference between asking for respect and insisting everyone ignore reality to fit an ideology. Pushing ideas that clash with basic biology, like claiming men can give birth or that gender has no connection to sex, only undermines credibility. Extremes like that don't move equality forward, they create division where there could be allies. The real way ahead is protecting freedoms, respecting dignity, and encouraging open conversation, not policing words or silencing disagreement. Arguing and shaming only spark backlash and kill the honest dialogue we actually need.
So I've never heard about men getting pregnant. I've never heard about this argument. It must be some part of what you call the far left that is so minuscule that I, who am...
No, Jane,
What?
It's not minuscule, and I'm sorry, you can't throw this back on us. I assume it's because you are locked into media that just never wants anyone in their audience to know anything sketchy about the blue team.
And that was the knockout moment. Jane Fonda tried to pivot faster than a politician caught on a hot mic. One minute she's defending the far left, the next she acts like she's never heard the argument that a man can get pregnant. Really, Jane? That line has been on every woke talk show, campus debate, and social feed for years. You can't just act like it's invisible. Then, seeing she'd cornered herself, she tried to wiggle out by claiming the woke left is just a tiny slice of the Democratic Party. Maher wasn't having it. With one sharp comeback, he popped that bubble, making it clear this isn't some fringe idea anymore, it's mainstream in today's left. That moment laid it all bare. The denial, the spin, and the desperate attempt to rewrite reality, right on live TV.
Well,
And that's...
I mean, I don't know. I read two papers, and maybe I don't. I should watch Fox News.
No,
I guess.
I don't watch that. That's too far. But you don't have to. I'm not going to torture myself.
And that's how the conversation finally wound down. Jane Fonda, cornered and clearly uncomfortable, half joked that maybe she should have watched more Fox News. But that wasn't just a casual quip. It was an unintentional admission that she'd been living in an echo chamber. For years, her Hollywood bubble had kept her insulated from real debates happening in the wider world, on news, on social media, and around everyday dinner tables. While she floated in applause from like-minded elites, the rest of reality kept moving. Maher just pulled back the curtain, and for the first time, she saw how out of touch things had become. Sometimes truth doesn't need to yell, it just needs to burst the bubble.
That certainly has been the history of this country, was police who were all too willing to shoot black people. So defund the police, though, was not a good idea. And you know who mostly didn't think it was a good idea was black people, because they want police in their neighborhoods, probably more than we need them in ours.
That's the issue with woke culture. It moves on impulse, not reflection. The loudest voices rarely pause to think about the long-term impact of what they demand. They just ride whatever trend is hot until it fades. And then, suddenly, the same people who were shouting slogans act like it never happened. Take the Defund the Police movement, for example. A few years back, activists, including many in the black community, pushed it like it was the ultimate moral stance. Today, reality has hit hard. Crime rose, neighborhoods felt less safe, and now those same communities are realizing just how important law enforcement really is. It's a stark reminder that chasing trendy virtue signals without thinking about consequences often ends up harming the very people you're trying to protect.
But the Republicans tried to catch the Democrats with this, and they put this on, they brought it up in Congress.
Yeah.
And all the Democrats voted against it. The Democratic politicians were not for defunding the police. It's that radical fringe that has captured a lot of the media, academia, some of these cultural institutions that are not liberal anymore by my old school liberalism. The ACLU, was all about free speech. They don't really believe in it anymore. They believe, I mean, in one of their chief people who is trans said, I will die on this hill of banning this book.
Absolutely, Maher is spot on. The woke left has become the loudest and most powerful faction within the Democratic Party, controlling the conversation, setting the tone, and deciding which topics are safe to discuss. Meanwhile, the mainstream left, the so-called moderates, often stay quiet, afraid of being labeled bigots or traitors. The few politicians and commentators who do push back face intense backlash, smear campaigns, professional cancellations, and, in extreme cases, even death threats. It's no longer about open debate or progressive values. It's about bowing to a constantly shifting moral orthodoxy. Maher's point hits hard. If the left doesn't reclaim its balance soon, the woke fringe could drag it straight into political irrelevance.
Top story. Most voters say U.S. can't repair severe divisions. And they went into the fact that 5 years ago, even during the pandemic and during the George Floyd protests, even then, people thought, well, we are going to get through this. And now they seem to be on the page of, it's not going to happen.
You know, Bill,
What do we do? Did you see the story?
Yeah, and I think what's new about this moment, one of my teachers and friends, Doug Seidman, likes to say this, we aren't divided, we are being divided.
That's right.
By companies for profit, okay? And we have our divisions, we always have them.
I have to disagree. Division didn't just happen, it's exactly what the far left wants. Woke culture feeds on outrage and polarization because it gives them power. They don't debate ideas, they dictate them. Challenge their worldview or refuse to repeat their talking points, and suddenly you're the villain, canceled, shamed, or silenced. It's not about inclusion or progress anymore, it's about enforcing ideological purity. We've seen countless people lose jobs, reputations, and even friendships just for thinking differently. That's not tolerance, it's authoritarianism dressed up as virtue. Until the left actually learns to accept different perspectives and have real conversations instead of public witch hunts, unity will stay just a hollow slogan. You can't build bridges when one side keeps setting them on fire.
At some point, you, on your phone, you ordered a yoga mat or something. Your algorithm figured out you're a liberal. Then your neighbor looked up a truck. You're a conservative. And from that day forward, you got different information every day, and nobody sent a notice. And so now you literally think your neighbor is insane, because how could they possibly think this stuff? But if you put your phone next to their phone, you're in different algorithmic universes, and that is brand new and very dangerous.
For once, I actually agree with Van Jones. We desperately need a converging universe on our social media, a space where differing opinions don't get hidden but are encouraged to clash. Right now, algorithms act like digital babysitters, showing us only content that reinforces our beliefs and shields us from anything opposing. That's not enlightenment, it's intellectual isolation. If we want real dialogue in this country, we need to face arguments that challenge us, frustrate us, and even make us uncomfortable. The left should hear what the right really thinks, and the right should understand what the left truly believes, not through sound bites or outrage clips, but in honest conversations. Only then can we confront reality instead of marinating in curated delusions. Otherwise, we keep mistaking comfort for truth, and that's dangerous. On that note, we'll wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.